Hey everyone, I'm Ben. I'm the owner of Imperial Watch Co. Appreciate you guys tuning in. This is my first YouTube video coming at you from the channel, and I'm excited to do it. I'm excited to show you guys the watch. What you see in front of you here is the Royalguard 200. This is my first offering from Imperial Watch Co. I'm very excited to bring it to you guys and showcase it here. It's currently on loan to me here in between reviewers, taking a little trip back home, and I'm very excited to have it and show it off to you guys. So I thought I'd take a moment, do a little overview of it, show it off a little bit on screen here, and then do a comparison of it between some of my other watches and some of the other builds I've done. Talk a little bit about the experience of coming to getting to where we see now and building it. We'll also do some strap changes and bracelet options. I got a few here that I'd like to show off, and I think you guys will like the content, and I hope you do. If you do, give it a like, follow, and let's dive in. All right, everyone. So this is the Royalguard 200. If you haven't seen it yet, the specs are on the website. I don't plan on doing a full getting out my calipers and measuring and giving you guys the exact specs. That's been done in some other reviews. You can go ahead and see them on the website as well as the rest of the information. So what I'd like to do instead is just kind of talk about the watch. So this is the Royalguard 200. It is a 38 millimeter at the bezel case. So the watch is kind of got that vintage size to it, right? It's a little smaller. It's not going to be a 40 millimeter or wear like a 41 or 42 on the wrist, but it has enough wrist presence that if you're used to that 40 or that 41, this will absolutely fit you. This is a very versatile watch, has a ton of features packed into it, and I'm going to kind of go into them each one by one here. But there's a little quick overview of it. So why don't we start with that bezel insert? So a little bit on my background is I modify and build watches, right? So I started as a modder. I started doing Invictas and Seikos, and I started with just bare cases that were available on eBay and AliExpress, right? So I would take those, build watches that looked like the vintage pieces that I was inspired by, and try and get as close as I can to that. But at some point you can only get so far, right? So I started going down and taking it much further. I started reshaping cases, thinning the lugs, and even moving the crown. I've moved the crown to a 6 o'clock position, re-drilled a hole and re-tapped it, and made a 6 o'clock crown, kind of ZRC Grand Fonds diver. But to me, this is just the perfect culmination of all the best elements, right? So just look at those crown or those lugs. To me, that was such an important aspect. So I really focused on that, wanting to get as thin as possible so that they just disappear into the bracelet when it's on the wrist. What you again get is a nice little chamfer on the edge there that really just plays with the light. It just barely catches it. It's like just hey, I'm there, and it's a subtle little aspect that really adds to the watch. 20 millimeter lugs there can fit a lot of strap options, and believe me, this thing is a strap monster. We'll look at some of them later on and look at some bracelet options. Moving to the crown, it's a 7.5 millimeter crown. It is engraved with the Imperial logo, just the crown on there. And then you move to the case back, and you got the same engraving, but the full engraving here with Imperial Watch Co. It's a nice deep engraving. It's not going to rub off from use. In fact, this watch has been getting used by other reviewers, by myself even. As soon as it came in, I've been wearing it nonstop, I'll be honest with you. So it's a little banged up, it's a little scratched up, but it is still a beautiful watch. And looking at that crystal, you got a vintage domed sapphire crystal, right? So it has some beautiful distortions playing on that, anti-reflective coatings, and it is just stunning. It really shows off that dial. What you see on the dial is a black gloss dial that really, the video does not do it justice, guys. It is in person with the crystal, it's a whole nother level. So from there, you got the vintage loom and the gilt printing, create kind of this vintage inspired look, which is really what this came from, right? I fell in love with vintage skin divers and have made a lot of watches to emulate that. And this is the cream of the crop for me. This is kind of what I envisioned when I set about building watches. So from there, you got the faded blue insert. It's actually more of a faded blue gray. A lot of people have asked me is it dark blue? Is it light blue? What's the story there? It really just depends on the lighting. It plays with the light so much so that you're gonna get those different shades, just like you would on a vintage insert. I've spent a lot of time fading perfectly good, beautiful inserts, sticking them in bleach and Drano and all sorts of stuff to get this look. And you're not going to find a stock insert that does it better than this. I guarantee that. So this gives you that kind of vintage blue hue, but almost like as if you faded a black. In fact, the one that inspired this, I had faded a black insert, and that's what got us to here. That's what you see there. That's the watch. From here, what I plan to do is grab some of my other watches, and we'll go ahead and take a look at it as how it compares. And then we'll take a look, slap it on some bracelets and some strap options, and go from there. All right, guys, so I got a nice lineup here, some very different watches, as you can see. A little preface and a little warning ahead of time. I have built most of these watches that you see here. The dials that you see on it, a lot of them are going to exhibit a logo that is the BSH logo. BSH stands for Brotherhood of Submariner Homages. That is a group that I fell in love with and dove into very early on in my modding days. Because they built some of the coolest watches I'd ever seen. And so I dove in, got involved with them. It's a very friendly group of guys online. Check them out. They used to be on Watch You Seek. Now they have their own place called the BSH Zone. Honestly, I've developed some great relationships there, and I would not be here today with the Royalguard if it wasn't for the inspiration from them. So shout out to the BSH. Really appreciate everyone there. And yeah, so the watches you see here, a lot of them are built by me, and then also you see some like the NTH here, and I'll talk about each one. So this is a 40 millimeter. It's a very nice case. I believe it was a Pagani design is what it started out as, and then I just added the Brolex dial, as you can see, and the aftermarket insert. But it works great. I have a 6.5 inch wrist, just about, so I can pull off 40 millimeter watches. I don't like to go anything above that. But that is the Brolex on the wrist, and you can see it's a chunker. It's a big watch. Here it is compared to the Royalguard. So 40 millimeter, 38 at the bezel, 37 at the case, so 38 millimeter, and you can just see the difference, right? So the Royalguard's going to wear much smaller, much more comfortably on the wrist. I mean, just look at the lugs, right? The lug difference. That was what I did not want. I really wanted this thin lug profile and just disappear into the bracelet versus just creating this shelf, right? You just run into it here. It's just smooth transition. So that was something I focused on. So you got the Royalguard, as you saw, against the 40 millimeter there. Here is NTH, beautiful watch, crazy thin, just solid, nice case. And the Holland has this beautiful sunburst blue dial. The crown here, I believe there's a 7 millimeter, so you can see the difference. This is okay. Prefacing saying NTH is some of the thinnest cases on the market, no matter where you look, thinner than many other things. So a little bit different, but honestly not bad. You got a bigger dome on here, bigger crystal, but you can see that it is still gonna wear smaller on the wrist, a little bit more comfortable. Thinner lugs than the NTH. It just really kind of tapers down, and these were some of the thinnest lugs on the market prior to this. So that is it compared to an NTH. The quality wise, I'm telling you, this thing feels just solid. You're not gonna be remiss feeling like, I feel like this is a cheap light watch. Not at all. It's gonna wear, like I said, like one of these 40s in terms of feeling that quality. It's a really nice, it just fits great on the wrist, on multiple wrist sizes. The Broxa, I don't know the exact size on this. I believe it's either 42 or 44 even, which should not work on my wrist. But that short lug to lug, it's just a fun watch, and it's a Doxa, right? I mean, or it looks like a Doxa. It just is fun, and it's crazy thin, like thinner than the NTH almost. So that one's fun. And there it is next to the, or here it is next to the much smaller Royalguard, right? So you can see the differences there. And then last but certainly not least is the Broflake. So the Broflake is a white dial, fully loomed, added a big crown, signed. This was kind of my way of building an NTH. The watch itself is pretty fun, and it's solid, and it's a fun watch to wear. That is it. Next to the Royalguard, you can just see the difference in size. And man, you can just see how this crystal it just plays with the dial like nothing else you'll see. Big crowns, and then thinner lugs on the Royalguard. So that's it on the wrist. Let me go ahead and pop this guy on the wrist so you can see what it looks like on my 6.5-inch wrist. And there you go. That's the watch on my wrist. It is extremely comfortable. It wears great, and I hope you guys like it. So from here, last thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try it out with some different strap options or bracelet options. I got beads of rice and some other things I think that you guys could potentially look at for putting yours on. So stay tuned. Thanks. All right, everyone. If you guys have made it this far, thank you. If you just skipped to this part, thanks for tuning in. Welcome. Last thing I'm going to do is go ahead and put the watch on some different bracelet and strap options just to show you guys some different looks, give you guys some ideas of what else you could do with the watch. It's a very versatile watch. There's a lot of different things that are going to look good on it. And this is just to show you guys, give you some ideas, maybe a new purchase here and there. So one thing to note though, before I jump into that, is the watch does have drilled lugs. Right? So that is going to allow for some very easy strap and bracelet changes. Something I really wanted to include in this watch, even with those thinned lugs, it was still a feature that I really wanted to include because it just is so much easier when you want to change it up, when you want to change the look of the watch. It's also something that you don't see on a lot of watches, especially a lot of micro brands and even in the high class luxury market, like the Black Bay 58, for example. But anyway, let's go ahead and put some new shoes on this guy and show you some different looks. Thanks. All right, guys, first up, we have the beads of rice or the boar. The boar bracelet, this one comes at you from Watch Co. This is a great bracelet. As you can see, it actually fits great on the watch. Not a lot of cleavage in between the lugs, and man, is it comfortable. So this is a great option if you're looking to change up the look and still get that vintage skin diver feel. Baltic uses a bracelet very similar to this. And you'll see it on a Doxa even, and you'll see it on a lot of vintage branded and styled watches. If you like what you see, you can pick this one up at Watch Co. And just so now you know, it fits and works on the watch. But yeah, I personally, looking at it now, it's my first time seeing it on this. I am glad I went the route with the original bracelet, the kind of flat link, almost Speedmaster style, which also has a lot of vintage vibes to it. But this one does not look bad at all. If that's something you're interested in, go ahead and get one ordered at Watch Co. and make sure you order the watch too. All right, let's switch it up. All right, guys, next up we have a Jubilee bracelet. This one is from either AliExpress or eBay, just one of the generic Submariner bracelets. But as you can see, it fits the lugs pretty dang well. This is a solid end link one. You bet you could get it to fit even better if you got hollow end links and you massaged them a little bit. Just use some pliers and tweak them. But this is the solid end link, fits fantastic, very comfortable on the wrist. Jubilees are extremely comfortable. And I gotta tell you, I really like this look. If you like what you see too, pick up a Jubilee, pick up a Royalguard, and hey, you're off and running. This is what it looks like on a Jubilee. Let's move to the next one. All right, guys, next up, let's move to some strap options. This is a Tropic rubber strap. This is kind of got that vintage, definitely vintage skin diver look going on. And you can see how a straight brush strap really shows off the thinness of those lugs. Man, this is a great look. Very comfortable, very versatile. You could wear this dressed up or dressed down while working outside, doing whatever it is you got going on that day. Very vintage skin diver look to it now with the Tropic strap on. So that's the look on a black Tropic strap. We'll go ahead and move on to the next one. Thanks. All right, guys, moving into the NATO straps. What you see it on here is a khaki strap from Bark and Jack. It has this kind of ballistic nylon weave to it. I'll be honest, this is my first Bark and Jack strap, and I wasn't sure because they're a little pricey for me. You can get them pretty cheap online normally, but man, this thing is really comfortable and just the threading is very high quality. So shout out to Bark and Jack. I went ahead and modified, I got rid of the second band here, so it is a single pass strap, and I am loving this look. It is just great, shows off that blue against the khaki, but yeah, that is it on a khaki NATO strap. Let's change it up. All right, guys, last but most certainly not least, we have a OG Bond NATO strap. This is a chevron strap from Crown and Buckle. If you haven't tried one of these, they are extremely comfortable and highly adjustable. They're adjustable single pass NATO straps. And man, I gotta tell you, I'm loving this look as well. I can tell I'm gonna be trying this thing on a lot of different NATOs. They're gonna be filling up my checkout cart at a lot of these NATO websites. But yeah, if you guys saw anything you liked during this video, make sure to subscribe and follow the channel. I'll go ahead and do a quick closing after this, but this is it on a Bond NATO strap. I am loving the look. All right, guys, that's the Royalguard 200. It's currently available on the website imperialwatchco.com for pre-orders at the pre-order price of $350. There's only a few left, so if you guys want one, go pick one up now before it's too late. Once they're gone, there won't be any more just like this. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Did a nice little overview, showed it on some different bracelets and straps. Hopefully you saw something you liked. Let me know in the comments. Go ahead and reach out to me on Instagram, DM, or via the website at info@imperialwatchco.com. It's just me, but I'm doing my best to answer everyone who reaches out, and I really appreciate the support so far, guys. If you have any questions, you have a specific ask, I'd love to do more videos. This was my first YouTube video, so bear with me. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, subscribe, and hey, we'll do some more of these. But I'll be at the Intersect Notice event on November 12th, in about a week from now, from when I'm filming this. But hey, if you guys are there, hit me up, come on over, say hi. I'd love to meet you and show you the watch in person. But hey, this is the Royalguard 200, and I appreciate you guys tuning in. I'm Ben. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.